So Giving Hearts Day is the largest online fundraiser in the state of North Dakota, and we're real proud at West River Health Services Foundation to be part of Giving Hearts Day. In fact, we're the only nonprofit 501c3 in the Hettinger community who is part of this amazing statewide effort. A year ago, they had almost 500 nonprofits participate with Giving Hearts Day across the state of North Dakota, and they raised over $19 million. In the last 13 years, they've raised over $80 million for nonprofits. We're really excited this year to participate with the Hettinger Student Council, of which Kira Henderson is the administrator of that program. And we are just really jazzed at how the students within our community have decided to jump on board with us for Giving Hearts Day.
Yeah, this is a new project this year that one of the teachers actually thought of to try. And so what we did was you could buy a heart that would go on the wall for $5, and you would get a candy bar with it, and $3 of every $5 went to the Giving Hearts. And with that being said, we sold 182 hearts, and we are able to donate $550 to the Giving Hearts.
Wow, how terrific. We are so excited that our students within our community are getting involved with a nonprofit organization. And of course, our West River Health Services Foundation, our mission is to provide comprehensive wellness and health for our community, and so therefore it really ties in everyone, as well as the youth, as well as our elderly, and all of us in between. So we're just really thankful for Hettinger Public Schools, and especially the Hettinger Student Council and their leadership to provide us with $550. We certainly didn't expect that, and it just goes to show that if everybody pitches in a little, we can create more physicians to come to our community and provide terrific health for everyone. And so I guess on behalf of West River Health Services Foundation, we'd like to thank Kira and the Hettinger Student Council for providing this sensational gift so we can bring more physicians to our area communities.
Yes, and thank you. And here's your check.
Wow, how terrific. Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
and we certainly look forward to next year and maybe getting even more of our students involved throughout the elementary and high school.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kara.
Thank you.
So Giving Hearts Day is the largest online fundraiser in the state of North Dakota, and we're real proud at West River Health Services Foundation to be part of Giving Hearts Day. In fact, we're the only nonprofit 501c3 in the Hettinger community who is part of this amazing statewide effort. A year ago, they had almost 500 nonprofits participate with Giving Hearts Day across the state of North Dakota, and they raised over $19 million. In the last 13 years, they've raised over $80 million for nonprofits. We're really excited this year to participate with the Hettinger Student Council, of which Kira Henderson is the administrator of that program. And we are just really jazzed at how the students within our community have decided to jump on board with us for Giving Hearts Day.
Yeah, this is a new project this year that one of the teachers actually thought of to try. And so what we did was you could buy a heart that would go on the wall for $5, and you would get a candy bar with it, and $3 of every $5 went to the Giving Hearts. And with that being said, we sold 182 hearts, and we are able to donate $550 to the Giving Hearts.
Wow, how terrific. We are so excited that our students within our community are getting involved with a nonprofit organization. And of course, our West River Health Services Foundation, our mission is to provide comprehensive wellness and health for our community. And so therefore it really ties in everyone, as well as the youth, as well as our elderly and all of us in between. So we're just really thankful for Hettinger Public Schools, and especially the Hettinger Student Council and their leadership to provide us with $550. We
Yes.
certainly didn't expect that. And it just goes to show that if everybody pitches in a little, we can create more physicians to come to our community and provide terrific health for everyone. And so I guess on behalf of West River Health Services Foundation, we'd like to thank Kira and the Hettinger Student Council for providing this sensational gift so we can bring more physicians to our area communities.
Yes, and thank you. And here's your check.
Wow, how terrific. Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
and we
thank
certainly
you.
look forward to next year and maybe getting even more of our students involved throughout the elementary and high school.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kara.
Thank you.
So Giving Hearts Day is the largest online fundraiser in the state of North Dakota, and we're real proud at West River Health Services Foundation to be part of Giving Hearts Day. In fact, we're the only nonprofit 501c3 in the Hettinger community who is part of this amazing statewide effort. A year ago, they had almost 500 nonprofits participate with Giving Hearts Day across the state of North Dakota, and they raised over $19 million. In the last 13 years, they've raised over $80 million for nonprofits. We're really excited this year to participate with the Hettinger Student Council, of which Kira Henderson is the administrator of that program. And we are just really jazzed at how the students within our community have decided to jump on board with us for Giving Hearts Day.
Yeah, this is a new project this year that one of the teachers actually thought of to try. And so what we did was you could buy a heart that would go on the wall for $5, and you would get a candy bar with it, and $3 of every $5 went to the Giving Hearts. And with that being said, we sold 182 hearts, and we are able to donate $550 to the Giving Hearts.
Wow, how terrific.
It
We
is.
are so excited that our students within our community are getting involved with a nonprofit organization. And of course, our West River Health Services Foundation, our mission is to provide comprehensive wellness and health for our community. And so therefore it really ties in everyone, as well as the youth, as well as our elderly and all of us in between. So we're just really thankful for Hettinger Public Schools, and especially the Hettinger Student Council and their leadership to provide us with $550. We
Yes.
certainly didn't expect that. And it just goes to show that if everybody pitches in a little, we can create more physicians to come to our community and provide terrific health for everyone. And so I guess on behalf of West River Health Services Foundation, we'd like to thank Kira and the Hettinger Student Council for providing this sensational gift so we can bring more physicians to our area communities.
Yes, and thank you. And here's your check.
Wow, how terrific. Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
and we
thank
certainly
you.
look forward to next year and maybe getting even more of our students involved.
Changes or additions or deletions to the agenda. We need to have reopening committee. Anything else I would like to add under review? This was probably executive session.
guys want to do an intro or just get started? Jump right in? All right. Welcome everybody tonight.
This is our second public meeting. Great to hear you again. So I'm sure about the architect with NSTEC and working with the district here over the last course of the year to look at facilities and ultimately get to where we're at tonight. Show you where we're at with the referendum. So first thing I'll say is if you didn't get this, or we don't have a copy of the fact sheet, and frequently asked questions, there's a bunch of copies out in the front door. For folks that are joining us online tonight, these are also on the website. A lot of what we're going to tonight is already in here. There's probably more questions, a little bit more explanations. So again, I do recommend that you consult these so you get a good decision on how we're going to proceed.
Jump right in here. So tonight we're going to talk about just broad overview of the project, where we're at. We're going to talk about school funding, which I think will help you understand better how we got to where we're at and why we're considering this as a viable option to fund the improvements. Obviously, what's most important is what's it going to cost. So we want to talk about that tonight as well. And then hopefully we'll answer some questions and go from there. So a little bit about NSTEC. Again, as I said, I'm Trevor. We work with a lot of K-12 districts throughout the state, a lot of Class B, and so very used to looking at buildings, assessing buildings, and helping districts kind of tackle tough questions. So we do that, again, throughout the state. Not only, so I'm an architect, we also have engineers, mechanical, structural engineers, and they actually been able to help do some of our assessment. So we kind of provide a good all-rounded approach when we kind of do that. So we don't just get and say, this is the only thing we're going to fix. It's what other things do we need to think about so we don't put ourselves in a position where we can't afford something later. Okay, so why are we considering this project? So again, just a quick little history if we got some new folks joining us tonight. The first thing is to consider that the building that we're in right now in the gym here, this is actually the oldest, part of the oldest building here. It was built in 1950. The elementary, the two-story elementary was built in 54, and then the high school came in 65, 66. And really, there's been improvements that they made to the buildings. Clearly since then, but nothing major, no major additions, no major overhauls of mechanical equipment or anything like that until about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, there was an HVAC project that was done, and it did tackle some things. It was aimed at energy efficiency. A lot of the terminal units in the elementary were replaced. There was some piping replaced. There was lighting replaced. So there was a whole slew of things that came with that project. The design team at that time, when they did their assessment, they felt that the boilers still had about 5 to 15 years worth of life on them. And so there was a decision made at that time to not proceed with replacing those boilers. Okay, and part of that, they got it here. Part of that was due to the fact that they didn't want to raise taxes on that project, and I'll cover that here in a little bit. So knowing that, what ended up kind of prompting this discussion to get started about a year ago is one of those boilers in the high school. They're the original boilers from 1950 or 1965, so they're going on 55, 65 years old now. It overheated, and so it caused to only have one boiler with no redundancy. And so that's kind of what put the school district in a position to say, hey, we need to look at this and look at it on a bigger scale. And we'll talk about cost in a minute on that. Yeah, so basically when looking at where everything kind of fell is, can we afford to replace the boilers? I mean, so the school district was able to fix it, but it's a temporary solution. Okay, again, those boilers aren't even manufactured anymore, so getting parts for them is very difficult. They're running on coal right now, so there's just a lot of things that start to add up to say, hey, is it the right time to replace these? And in this particular situation, the cost to replace the boilers was more than what the district could afford out of the annual budget. So, okay, so I wanted to talk real quickly, just go through some of the improvements that really make up the referendum, the $3.3 million that's being asked for. here's kind of here's how we got to determining what those were. And again, I guess I'll say we did go through and we looked at the whole facility. Originally, there were 3 projects that the district that we were asked to look at. So we kind of looked at those, but we said, hey, you know what? Let's look everywhere else and see if we've got any other things that are needing to be considered. And so we did find a few others that we felt were important enough to bring forward. So I'll start with the boilers. So again, here's the high school boiler behind me here. Those are the original boilers from 1995.
And then the elementary just west of the gym here, that building that's out there, actually has 2 additional boilers. So there's 2 boilers that serve the high school, 2 boilers that serve the elementary. The 2 that serve the high school are actually a hot water boiler, so they circulate hot water and that's when they serve heat. Whereas the 2 that serve the elementary are steam. So they do 2 completely different systems.
So the ones that were put in for the elementary were put in about 20 years ago, and from my understanding, they were actually put in. They were already used when they were bought, and so now we're starting to see some problems with those steam leaks and just a lot of maintenance starting to creep up. And so again, that's where we said, hey, we're going to go boilers. We're going to fix them. Let's fix them all, so we don't end up with a similar situation in 2 or 3 or 4 more years, because these were already past their useful life as well. So as I mentioned, again, both boilers beyond their useful life. They're on coal, which, coal is fine, but how much longer are we going to be able to continue to burn coal? And, availability, there's long-term things that you need to be thinking about with that system. It's very maintenance heavy. So this time of year, obviously, when these are running, somebody has to be in there making sure that there's coal feeding those every 3 to 4 hours a day. Even in the middle of the night, someone's got to come check on those, I presume. So. It becomes a little bit of a problem. So the solution that we've kind of outlined is, number one, working with the local utility to actually bring a propane line into the building that would actually feed the new boiler. So it'd be a propane boiler, so it'd be a higher efficiency than what you're currently getting. So it would obviously eliminate the need for coal. So there's obviously long-term savings benefits by doing this. The other thing that we're going to look at a little closer, if the referendum does pass, is we're going to see if we can actually condense all 4 of these boilers into 2 boilers to serve the entire facility. So the thought there is if we can go from 4 to 2 long term, in another 20 to 30 years when these boilers have to get replaced, you're only doing 2 instead of 4. So we're going to study that and see if it actually has some payback today to do that. If not, then we'll probably proceed with replacing the 4. One thing to consider too is that these boilers right now, depending on how you look at this, that's actually the heating source for the pool water as well. So that's how that's been heated all these years. So one of the other projects that we looked at is windows. Obviously the south side of this building has a lot of windows. They're relatively new, I'll say. They're insulated, they're thermally broken. So in terms of energy efficiency, they're much better than some of the other ones, like the ones right behind you here in the gym. Again, they're original glass block. There's also some other ones on the high school that are single pane windows. So again, we're just looking at getting building efficiency, building it's not a lot of windows that we're looking to replace, but essentially this gets your envelope a little bit more efficient throughout. So I pretty much just covered all those things. The new systems obviously would be modern systems that'll provide a lot of years of good service. One of the other things that we want to take care of is I walked around the building, just all the little projects that have happened over time. There's different things that have happened. For instance, this picture here is on the back side of the stage, and this is where they added some new electrical service. Well, the contractor didn't quite maybe finish the job as well as what I would have expected. So we got some situations now, we got opportunities for water filtration, air, birds, other things that can get it going. So again, my goal is to go around the building, document all these, and come up with a good solution to how we can make the building weather tight. And that's pretty much all the way around. There's also, I mean, just some deterioration in the brick, just normal age, wear and tear things. So again, idea is to get the building sealed up, keep it in good working condition so it can last for a long time. So that brings up one of the other items, which is the
So again, we talked about that project 5 years ago. They actually replaced much of the roof over in our high school. But the elementary portions were not replaced.
These have obviously multiple roofs that have been built up on them, and there's been problems with leaking. For instance, I know the elementary, the 2-story elementary, in the last year, it's leaked and caused some interior water damage to some classrooms and offices.
One of the other things is they're not very energy efficient, and most of these are original roughly, and then kind of covered up a couple times, and now it's free, so they're really good there. You can't have.
So our proposed solution is to actually take it all off down to the original, bring back with, energy efficient and code compliant insulation, a new membrane system, and then it'll perform very well. So very similar to what was done at the high school. So that brings us to the last project of the bunch here, and that's the pool. So again, back about a year ago, I think basically started noticing that the water bill, we're just losing a lot of water. And so in an effort to bring associated pools down here, they were kind of looking at it, and really there's no clear-cut reason why the water's going away. There are some cracks in the pool deck that have been found, but a lot of the piping that serves the pool is all buried underground. And so obviously with it, being 65 years old, it's definitely at that point where it needs to be inspected farther. So they had proposed some solutions to do some temporary fixes, but again, with some of that underfloor piping, it's not a bulletproof solution, whether or not it would actually work or not. So after, looking at the water bills over this last year, talking to Heather and Ryan, we think that there's somewhere around $4,000 a month that we were losing just to water in that pool every month. So obviously, any solution moving forward, whether, whatever that solution is, that would actually be savings that you would be on top of what you're already wanting to save with some of the other energy efficient projects. So with the pool, the idea on this project is that it's going to be a complete replacement. So they would actually take out the entire pool that's there, all new piping, build the pool back. And the solution that we've provided, and I think I've got a photo here, a little bright on here. Again, it's on the website, it's on the frequently asked questions. But the idea of what we're thinking on this is, number one, it's going to have a separate exterior entrance, so that the idea is that it could possibly be more available during the day while keeping the school separate from that perspective. So again, safety for students and then accessibility for everybody. As you can see in this picture, we've actually laid it out. I think we'd be able to get like two swim lanes, the diving well, and then this is actually shown like a splash pad. So the splash pad would essentially be, it has no standing water in it, so you could easily, as a young children, wheelchairs, it's an accessible pool now from all the different perspectives, from entrance and then into the pool, it's going to be accessible. So again, I think it'll just provide a lot more use for the community all year round. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to cover on there. One of the things that we did talk with the pool company who's actually done the maintenance is that a lot of the pumps and tanks and water gear has all been replaced within about the last 10 years. So a lot of the mechanical portions of the pool are actually in good condition, so we wouldn't have to replace those at this time. So I'll kind of pause there and maybe see if I got any questions online. I'll take some questions. I'll take some questions here from the crowd if we want to go over these.
sense to spend 1.875 million. I mean, the roof makes sense, the boiler makes sense. I'm just trying to get my hands around a pool at that type of figure versus a outdoor pool and mod at 350,000. I'm just trying to figure this out. I know we want an indoor outdoor pool, I can get that. But does it make sense for taxpayers to pay more money to have a pool that I think the usage has went this way, not this way?
So here, I'll try and briefly say that, so people that are joining us online hear that, and then I don't know if you guys want to take that. But I understood your question, this has been a study on look at the cost of a pool, the cost of this pool versus the return of the usage, cost of maybe building a house fire or something else. Yeah, I can say I have not looked at that, I don't know from the administrative side.
Yeah, I can help answer that. We did some surveys, and we had, Trevor said, 11, 12 on that survey. And I think that the school board has done a nice job of looking at what the community requested, taking out those projects that the community did not feel they were supported. But the pool was always on top of that list. The community wants that pool. And I know there's some question about, okay, is this truly a school project? Is this a community project? And we've had conversations of who should be running this. The city, as we were at that meeting, committed $40,000 a year to help support some of those costs. And I think in the past, you're right, there was some last students doing some of that. We did have the whole mix, working on that to try and utilize that a little more. I think that the administration here, if it's on the past, have this conversation of, okay, if we're going to ask the community for this type of money, there's going to be critical involved. Whether that's safety classes, teachers, I know those things happen in the summer. But I think we as a school need to utilize that more and do that. I think that's the goal. To have full that we use in that. And I don't know, is there all questions to that?
I guess, as I understand it, our students currently utilize the pool 1 week out of the year by their class, maybe 2 weeks out of the year. They have swimming for a very limited time, so evidently we're going to increase this to where they utilize this pool a lot. And then how are we going to have the public in there when our students are in there? Because as I understand it, that cannot happen.
You're going to have that will happen. And we talked about full matter, so we really kind of block off, that, we have really good lessons that, whatever class period is blocked off. If realistically looking at pools, everything else usage comes after the school hours, the meetings or early mornings, but for the community, some of the last one and stuff, and that stuff. So, again, our goal is to provide that curriculum to get that used up. But you're right, the public and answers to the school, we have at the same moment. We'll just have to block that time off.
Continuing on the pool, you mentioned that the city would contribute 40,000 annually. What is the amount of school that would be responsible for operating expenses of districts?
I don't know if we have an exact number on that. Part of it is due, I'm sorry for the question, but what's the school responsibility and operation costs, basically?
community, what's roughly about what everybody's going to pay? I know it's different for everyone, but in general, there must be kind of a median, rough idea. We're just trying to get an idea. I think we can go to your website and put in our number from the county tax assessment or city tax assessment and give us the exacts. But what is it if we're just talking to somebody? It's going to cost you $50 or $200 more a year for 20 years? Or what is the cost for a taxpayer roughly?
I guess I'm going to look at that from the median point of view. So the question is, what's the maybe average cost to the taxpayer on this? And as you mentioned, yes, it's a tough question because everybody's properties are something different. You know, I don't know if you looked at the sliding chart there, what would you say average?
I would say this would be
So if we're going out a number here and we use the chart that's on back here to reference, if the average property is worth $150,000, right, that's true the full value, that's not taxable value. But if it's $150,000, that would be $95 a year, cost $70 a month. If that's an average. Some people obviously do less, some people do more.
The median of Adams County is $148,800.
Okay, so the median is 148, and it's 150, $8 a month.
And it's also important to understand that 1.8 million is with the splash pad outside, and that's, we don't know where we're gonna go with that. We need to, if this bond passes, we need to talk about if we're gonna do the splash pad outside. Right. The original plan when we were setting this up was to go with an outside splash pad, and so there's 545,000 budgeted in, but probably won't need that money if we continue to do it inside. We can get away with not selling those bonds for that additional 500,000. It might work into the same price we did. I just wanted, mics aren't working, that's why we're trying to figure out, people can't hear it, so. We're working on it.
But Anthony, I love your question. The problem is right now, that's already covered out of our budget. $4,000 a month is figured on, with all the excess water and everything. It's hard to budget something out knowing what it will cost you, but it should be significantly less on that aspect than what's been happening so far. I guess just from an information standpoint, I assume whoever would be designing the pool to produce numbers. If we were to go build a new pool, certainly there would be numbers to use for operation. So I would challenge the board to get that information because it has to be available. Certainly you don't know what it is today, the difference, but you know that this new pool would be going forward. So to me, that's what's the benefit. Because as I understand, if something is a done pool, would just be closed, and then rather than dusting, you would have expenses. So I would just challenge the board to understand the true cost of operating it and get this out. And now, we discussed on that too, if the pool were to not go through, if the pool were to close, it's still going to cost a certain amount of money to fill that in, reutilize that part of the building for something else as well. And part of this expense of this is the removal then of the old. So it's not just a matter of that much money would come off the referendum. I mean, there's some expenses that would occur there as well.
If the entire outside decking has to come off no matter what.
When we worked on these numbers, we did work with associated pools on establishing what the So the numbers that we have are, I mean, they're obviously, designed, I guess, so they're not perfect, but they're within, there's design contingency factor. So, yeah, as you mentioned, if this whole thing comes in at say 1.4, therefore. They can issue less bonds, they just can't issue more than the 2.3. So I think that's a decision of the board that, yeah, I mean, obviously the next step, if the referendum were passed, we would work on the design. Obviously we did that project out, but we have the answer to the 3.3, so this, if any project comes in over budget, something else is going to have to compromise. That's just the way these all work. And then we'll get into it. I know one of the other things is I'm trying to wrap my head around some of the operational costs too. If you think about just the HVAC side of the house, just trying to the air, keep everything running. I don't really know how you meter that separately, but there is a cost of that too. There's water cost, there's a staffing cost, and then there's a mechanical cost, so to speak. Can I just check one more time? So sorry, one more. Okay.
So when the pool was originally built, which I don't think was 65 years ago, but when it was built, the class size, was 70, 80 kids in a class. And now we have 15 to 30, maybe more towards the 20 area for most classes. So, kids are going to use this the most unless we have a resurgence of elderly aerobics and getting involved in swimming, or if we bring our swim team back. So, I still just kind of question when our population used to be 1,600 people in this community, and now it's probably around 1,000. Trying to figure out how it's going to be utilized more than it has been when we just have less and less and less people. Not that I'm against the pool, I'm all for a pool. I just don't know if 1.875 or 1.375, if we don't do a splash pad, is that the best use of bond funds versus other stuff for our kids and for the school system? Teachers, computers, books, whatever.
And we had that opinion. We went to our city and said, hey, this is probably part of our school program. We, the city council, and discussed that with the committee. And everybody in our committee from the city and our board felt that this is something the community should do. Probably not part of the school. When it was brought to the city, the discussion was, A, we will not even look at building outdoor or any form of pool for at least 5 to 6 years because of the projects the city's involved in.
But they gave you $800,000 over 20 years to maintain a pool that costs $1.875 million. So I'm trying to get my head around the city council as well, because how could they approve an $800,000 gift for 20 years when this bond hasn't even passed?
But as a board, we felt that this is something the community in our survey really wants. Nobody wants to go 6 years without a pool. And if we're not going to have one, will it get built in 6 years or will it not? That's the question. If they're not doing it now, what happens in between now and then, and we don't have a pool? So we felt that our community wanted it. We were going to step up and build that. We put it out there that people want it. We're not going to, try to do that. Because it was important. If you look at the numbers, it's like 78% people on the survey, wanted the pool. And so that's the point where we said, okay, we're going to build this pool. Then we need the support to fund the operation. The referendum puts it on tax, the city would have to tax it out of place, or the county. Either way, it's going to come out of taxpayer dollars. At the end of the day, we're taking it from our education budget to run it. And so that's why we're asking for the system to do that, so it doesn't affect our budget.
And I'd also like to add, when it went down, our first was, okay, let's get this fixed. And I know the 1.3 or 1.8 sounds like a lot, it was 500,000 just for repair. And that's not, that's just for repair. You know, that's not a guarantee that the pool's gonna, so you're weighing the options. We put 500,000 and it doesn't work, and we're still shutting the pool down. You know, so it was also that.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about school finance basics here. And we've kind of started to kind of dive into this a little bit. But part of it's understanding, you know, where does all this, you know, where does the tax dollars of the district cost? Where do they go? What do they pay for? And why are we even thinking about raising more taxes over our money? So, you know, the first thing to understand is obviously you have the general fund, right? That's the biggest bucket of money. And about 70+% of that that goes to paying staff salaries, it goes to buying books, that goes purely to education. And so obviously any project you do that you got to dip into the general fund, you're making sacrifices at that point that do directly impact education. There are some other funds that the school board can levy without going to a vote, right? They have that right as board. One of them is a miscellaneous fund. Special reserve fund, special assessment, limited tax, building fund bonds, and lease revenue bonds. So there's a lot of different buckets that can get tapped into. The problem with this is that most of these, maybe special assessment and one other one, those are actually levied on top of the general fund. And some of these other, like lease revenue funds, that's where the district could actually, or the school board would have the option to raise taxes through those bonds, but they would have to pay that loan payment out of the general fund. Right. So that's the reason why that's not really a great option in this particular instance. But some of those others are already being used, and that's what, when the project was done 5 years ago, they used a combination of energy savings. I'll put the next slide here. They used, I believe, special assessment, and they also used the building fund levy to pay for that project. I think that was a 20-year payback that project for 5 years in. So the building fund levy is usually a really good source of income, right? That comes in, and really, you know, most times you want to save some of that to be able to repair your building when it makes so long, right? In this particular instance, the voters one time in the past voted on a 10 mil levy, and it doesn't ever sunset. The only way that this ever goes away is if the board were to completely do away with it. Most boards, most school districts that I work with, if they don't need that, they'll just put down 0 mills and not collect on that. But eventually they may need something, and they can add that. In this particular instance, that's already being capped at 10 to pay for the previous project. So that kind of gets us into this last one here, and that's the seeking an interest fund levy, which is really just what it means as a bond. And so that's a separate assessment that would be tacked on top of everything else. It does require 60% of the votes, 60% of the votes cast on voting. They have to be, you know, in support of this tax. And there's a cap on that too. And so that cap is 5% of the total district valuation. So I believe the total district valuation is $150 million, so 5% of that puts you at $7.5 million. That's the cap of what the district can borrow. Okay. You can go up to 10%, which would reach to $15 million, but it would require a second vote. In this particular instance, we're not looking at exceeding that 7.5, so that's not an issue. But there have been some questions about, well, you know, if we're going to go for a referendum, why not just build a new school, or why keep ourselves in this building that we have? And you know, the first thing I'll say is that at 10% of $15 million, you would not be able to raise that money to build a new school. New school to replace this facility, not the same size. I would say you have more space. Back to your point earlier about having more students. You know, number one, education's changed a lot, which has affected the footprint and how that school is utilized. But you're going to need 80,000 to 90,000 square feet to replace this building. And that's going to be somewhere in the 20 to 25 range. So it's not feasible based on the current borrowing mechanisms to do this. So that's why that really, we talked about it, probably had 2 conversations on it, and it's on the table. And then there was other money invested at the last project 5 years ago. So. One other thing I just thought I would note here is I was talking to the bond council. We were going through the financials on this. As of about 3 weeks ago, they were seeing bond rates in 1.25 to 1.5%, which is, she's only seen them lower one time, and a couple months ago, they did lower more. So in terms of the time to borrow money, it doesn't really tell you the number. There is a fallback mechanism with the state. They created a bank in North Dakota as a building project where you can actually go buy your bonds at 2%. So nice thing is there's a bumper that would go over that 2% either way. I'll just pause there for a second. Any questions on kind of those buckets of money and funding? It's kind of confusing, you know. Try to answer questions and things like that. Okay. All right. So this is the ballot here, and again, it's on the website. It's on the frequently asked questions. We just want to make sure that people understand what it says, and you know, hopefully, I'll help you understand what it says and what it really means. The first thing is, if you want to cast your vote, you need to go to the armory next Tuesday between 9 and 7 in order to vote. Or if you choose, you can come get a absentee ballot. You have to get that from your district, your business manager, and there's a process that goes into it. You do some signatures. So you can't just go to the website, print this out, and then go cast that vote. That will not count. So I just want to make sure that it's clear that you have to vote in person on Tuesday, or you have to get an absentee ballot. So basically, what this is saying is that the district is asking to be obligated to $3.3 million, up to $3.3 million of loan, and that it's going to basically cost $14.01 for each $1,000 of taxable value. And the way that's calculated, let's see, it also says that the loan can be a maximum of 20 years. So again, I think of it as a mortgage, and I think of it as a loan, just like a mortgage on your house, just making that payment. That's what the loan does. Please do. And so it's maximum 20 mils. It's 20 years, $14.01 per taxable valuation. And then it also talked about what they did. So essentially, it had a description outlining the things that we talked about, boilers and energy efficiency. So as I mentioned, there will be a fixed rate loan. It can be paid off early without interest. So the 14.01 mils, it's basically mathematical. Okay, so a mil is 1,000 or something. And in this particular instance, the district's valuation, as I mentioned earlier, 1 mil brings in $15,338. So in order to make that loan payment, let's see here. So we're bringing in $15,000 per mil. The annual payment will be $215,000. So you basically do the math, 215 divided by 14,338, you get 14 mils. So that's how the number was derived. And so to really know what it means to each one of you individually, you have to understand. This is where you have your statement, your tax statement. That's where it's best. But essentially, the way that, and this is taxable valuation, that's different from what your home is truly worth. The actual market value is different than taxable valuation. So the way the state determines taxable valuation is they say, okay, you buy your house today at $100,000. They automatically take 50% of that off. And then from that 50% that they take off of the assessed value, then they multiply another multiplier. If you're a business or ag, it's 50%, your residential is 45%. So then they take 45% of the assessed value to get to the taxable value. And if you consult your tax statement, it's right on there. It's a true and full value, it's a taxable value. I like to talk about taxable because that's how the file reads. So for me, it's the simplest. And so basically, this chart here is one again that's referenced many times tonight. Just trying to give you guys, if you don't have, if you kind of generally think that your home is, worth $100,000,
this at least helps you kind of quickly pinpoint, hey, okay, if I'm $100,000, it's going to cost me about $5.25 a month. So again, there is a little formula right here that it's the same formula that's plugged into the calculator online if you do that. So it's simple. But again, that'll help you kind of understand what your particular situation is. We also have the numbers of Adams County and Henry County auditors on there. So if you don't have your statement, or if you want to call in and ask them to help them understand it, they can do that. So here's an example of the statement right here. So again, 2020 real estate statement. You can't really read it right here, but this is true and full value. You come over to the last tax year, 2020. In this particular property, true and full value is $78,000. Okay. You take half of that, 39, and you take 9% of that, and you end up with a taxable value of $3,510. You were to, so there's the math right there. So the 78,000 times, essentially 4.5% will get you to 3,510. You take that times the mills that's required, and then you divide that by 1,000 to calculate for the mill on math here, and you end up with a payment for this particular person, the $78,000 house is $49.49 a year. Just over $4 a month. So let me talk about timeline real quick, and let me just jump ahead because I forget what the next slide is. Okay, let's talk about timeline real quick. So obviously here we're at the second public meeting. The vote is on Tuesday, as I mentioned before, 9 to 7 at the Armory. And if the vote, if it does get 60%, obviously that would be kind of our process where we would get started with next steps. So that's essentially getting our design team together. I see this project happening a lot, but really in my mind it's about 3 projects and maybe 4 projects. So our mechanical engineer would be working on a boiler project right away. I personally would handle the roof, the weatherization, the windows. That would probably be maybe a project that I would break into 2. And then while those are going on, we're going to have discussions with the pool consultant and likely get the community involved. And we probably want to get some more input on the design. That's just us, thanks to Paul and stuff. But again, as the survey did have a lot of support for the pool, it'd be good to go back to the point, how do we figure out how to best utilize this? Are there things, are there amenities or things in this pool that would make it more utilized? So we want to have some of those discussions in order to make it valuable for everyone. Construction-wise, I see the projects also following a couple different paths. We want to tackle the windows, the roofs, and the boiler. We want to get those done as quick as possible. So the idea would be that we would get our design documents done in the next 6 to 8 weeks, get those bid, and try and get those improvements done here before fall. Okay. And then the pool project, I don't anticipate it probably even start bidding until the summer. And then it will probably go through, I'd say, winter, December, January timeframe to get completed. If everything, if the timelines hold true. That was kind of the timeline that's there. So again, questions on got a couple other slides queued up here I can run through real quick. So here's kind of a breakdown of that cost. And again, this is right out of the frequently asked questions, so you can see exactly what everything is estimated to be. Within that 3.3 million, so you know, that includes project contingency, because at this point we're still at 30,000 feet. Until we get into details, there's inevitably going to be some things that we don't know yet. So it accounts for that. This accounts for architecture, engineering, design fees, and then our team will be here today through design. What we actually oversee, we're the district's advocate with the contractors. Right? So we don't have a contract with any contractors. We work for the district and make sure that they design or they actually implement everything that we design. So when we walk away, we want to make sure everything is done exactly what we expect it to be, so you guys get the best project. So we're kind of the advocate all the way through that entire process to make sure you get what you do.
somebody come in a little low, but this is on averages. But we know where each project has to be before we would dial back or before having discussions. How do we go with that? Typical process, every project is like this. Bidding climate, there's just so many external factors. This last year, obviously, COVID has played a part in problems as well. So yeah, here is an example. This is the $100,000 example. This is that taxable valuation. So again, just showing you exactly how that came about to get down to the $5.25 for residential. If you're a commercial property at $100,000, it's a little bit more. So instead of being in that 50 range, it's $70. And then on the ag, we'll go to this really quick. So this is based on the county average per acre, 563 per acre. So when you do the math, it ends up being about 40 cents per acre annual increase, about $250 a section, based on the average. That's all I've got. What other kind of questions do we have tonight?
On your photo of the pool, and you mentioned that there is a splash pad as part of the pool, and you mentioned that there's 2 lap lanes. I guess I don't understand. So is that 1.3 million right there, and then there's another 500,000 for a splash pad outside? Is that?
So when we originally budgeted those numbers, it was rebuild the pool just as it is today, and that was 1.3. And then the 545 was basically take out the entire concrete deck outside, rebuild that deck with splash pad outside. And so those were the numbers that we were using. Now, I know the board was kind of discussing at the end, as Eric alluded to earlier. I don't want to discussion, but I think we put this thing on, you guys put this thing on once or twice, just to really make sure this decision that we're going to move forward with. And so what came in the discussions was, hey, what if we, number one, could we put that inside? We put the splash pad inside, so now all of a sudden maybe it's a year-round function. So it's not just something that is out there for 2 or 3 months and you're turning off and having to use it. So I worked with the pool consultant here and actually found this whole list of YFC facility. We've actually laid it out, and this is something very similar to this we actually work with. So yeah, what you're seeing here is essentially your lap lanes would be on one side of it, and then you got the splash deck here. This one actually doesn't have a diagonal. I don't think this one has a diagonal, this one's a little shorter. So it's doable, but it's right, but the idea is that if you take that splash pad and bring it incorporated to the inside of the pool, there's some efficiency from the pumping side, because if you put the splash pad outside, you're going to need a whole separate pump and mechanical system. We incorporate that inside and out of the save costs. So there's an idea that we potentially save costs by these two.
So which plan are we voting on? The indoor, all indoor deal, or are we voting on the pool indoor and an outdoor?
So what you're voting on, right, is all 5 projects we talked about: roofs, windows, weatherization, boilers, and the pool. As far as what the exact design of the pool is at this point, what I'm trying to hand you is the direction that we were leading to go. That's why I was mentioning that we'd like to have some community input in these to really figure out what the right design is. We have, what I can tell you is that 1.8, that's what's budgeted for this project. So it could be a variety, it could be either or, but it's for the pool and the splash pad. It doesn't necessarily mean indoor or outdoor, but the idea is that it covers the cost of the work.
Any other questions? If not, thank you, Trevor. Yes, we will move on with meeting. carries. January 2021 special school board meeting.
Motion to approve the January 20th school board.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?